Hello and welcome. Page number 47, unit number 2, value of supply, GST study material of ICA. What are the outcomes or learning outcomes of this unit number 2 of chapter number 5, dealing with time of supply and value of supply? We are done with time of supply, now we are into the value of supply. So after studying this unit, you will be able to understand what constitutes the value of a taxable supply of be it goods or be it service. When the supply is made to a unrelated person, price is the sole consideration. What are the various inclusions and various exclusions from the value of supply? When discount will be included and when discount will not be included in the value of supply, who are related persons, how to compute the value of taxable supply when price is the sole consideration and the supplier and the recipient are not related. Coming to the overview of this chapter, value of supply or unit for that matter, value of supply. Value of supply made to unrelated persons where price is the sole considerations, inclusions and exclusions from the value of supply, and the concept of discount, when it is to be included, when it is to be excluded from the value of supply. Now, when GST is payable, GST is payable on supply. Supply of what? Goods and or services. The supply is to be made for a consideration. It should be made in the course or furtherance of business. However, certain supplies, though they are not made for consideration, then also they will be treated and chargeable as to GST. And those instances are given to us in Schedule 1 of the CGST Act that we have already understood in our some second chapter or something like that. Now GST is an ad valorem tax. What do you mean by ad valorem tax? When tax is payable as a percentage on a value, then it will be called as ad valorem tax. So what do you mean by ad valorem tax? Ad valorem tax is a tax which is payable as a percentage on some value. On some value. Let us say GST rate is 12%. The value of supply is 1 lakh. Then the tax payable is 12,000. How did you get rupees 12,000? You got 12,000 by applying the percentage of 12% on the value of supply of 1 lakh. So this kind of applying a percentage on a value and determining the tax payable is called as ad valorem levy. Now, therefore, since GST is an ad valorem levy, it is important to determine the value in order to arrive at the correct CGST and SGST or UTGST or IGST payable. If it happens to be an intrastate supply, then CGST and SGST or UTGST has to be paid. If it happens to be an interstate sale, the interstate supply, then IGST is required to be paid. Now, in order to understand the and analyze the concept of value of supply, you have to go through the provisions as contained in section 15. And also, you have to understand the CGST rules, that is determination of value of supply of CGST rules. Now, these rules have been prescribed. Now, what does section 15 say? Section 15 of the CGST Act says that it will give the common provisions which are required to be applied for determining the value of supply of goods. It provides a mechanism as to how the value of supply is to be determined if the supply is made between unrelated person and where the price is the sole consideration. Now, where the value can't be determined as per the provisions contained in section 15, then you have to go to the rules, that is determining the value of supply of goods, determination of value of supply of CGST rules. There you have to go. Now, Section 15 of the CGST Act provides the provisions for valuation of intrastate supply. Now, if it happens to be an interstate supply, then the provisions are contained in IGST Act. So, similar provisions which are contained in Section 15 will also be contained in Section 20 of the IGST Act. Before going into Section 15, we need to understand some definitions. My dear friends, most of the definitions which we are going to discuss here are already discussed at some point of time in our preceding chapters. But however, as a matter of revision, these have been provided here also. What I will do is, I will not go into the very much detailed analysis of these definitions of which are already discussed by us in our preceding chapters. Whom do you mean by an agent? It is defined under section 2 subsection 5 of the CGST Act. This we learned previously. But here we have a pictorial representation. We will go through it. For as a matter of revision, agent includes or means. Agent means an exhaustive definition. Factor, broker, commission agent, arahatiya, del creditor agent, auctioneer, mercantile agent. We also understood as to what you mean by del creditor agency. Who carries on the business of supply of goods and or services on behalf of another person. So this fellow will not be carrying on the agency business on his own account, but he will do it for the other person. What do you mean by cess? It will have the same meaning as assigned to it under the Goods and Services Tax Compensation to States Act. There it has been defined. What do you mean by consideration? The definition of consideration we learned two times. Two times in two chapters we have learned. So what I will do is I will directly go into the pictorial representation or the flowchart. What do you mean by consideration? Consideration comprises of two parts, first part and second part. What is the first part? Payment in money or otherwise for supply. But it will not include deposit. Deposit will be included only when the supplier applies such deposit as a consideration for the said supply. Okay. Now, payment in money or otherwise for supply by recipient or any other person. So the payment may be made by the recipient or any other person, excluding subsidy given by central government or state government. It does not include deposit. It has to, the deposit is to be considered only when it is adjusted against the consideration. The second part is monetary value of an act of forbearance for the supply by the recipient or any other person, excluding subsidy or given by the central or state governments. That is consideration. What do you mean by market value? This we did not learn in our preceding chapters. Now we should understand what is the definition of market value. The market value is defined under section 2 subsection 73 of the CGST Act. So what do you mean by market value? Means the full amount. My dear friends, in simple terms we will understand what is market value. You went to a shop, nearby shop in your locality to buy 1 kg of rice. And you ask him, you are not a relative of that person, you know him. My dear friend, you know him, but you are not a relative or a related person to him. So, and you asked what is the price of 1 kg of rice, he told that 1 kg of rice is 60 rupees. That is market value, simple, right? So, we will go into the definition. Market value shall mean full amount, which the recipient of supply is required to pay in order to obtain goods or service or both of like kind, quality, about the same time at the same commercial level where recipient and supplier are not related. Now we are going to the flowchart type. Market value is the full amount which the recipient is required to pay to obtain the goods and or service or both. Now of like kind and quality about the same time at the same commercial level where the recipient and supplier are not related parties. Whom do you mean by related parties? Already we learned in one of the chapters, but again we will learn as to whom do you mean by related parties here also by a flowchart. Money. Money we already defined. So directly we will go into the flowchart. So money we already defined in our previous chapters. We will go into the flowchart. Money is includes. Money means or includes. Money means exhaustive definition. Money means Indian legal tender, foreign currency, check, promo, bill of exchange, LC, draft, pay order, traveler check, money order, postal or electronic remittance, any other instrument recognized by Reserve Bank of India when used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination, excluding currency held for numismatic value. Excluding currency held for numismatic value. So what do you mean by numismatic value? So what do you mean by numismatic value? Let's Google it. Numismatic. The collection of coins, banknotes and medals. So some people have the habit of collecting old notes, old coins. So that that hobby of collecting and preserving old notes, that is called as holding the currency or holding the money for numismatic value. Moving forward, whom do you mean by person? We defined this already 2 times, but again we will go. So, person, individual, HUF, company. Person is an inclusive definition. If it is if start with means, it is an exhaustive definition. Exhaustive definition. If it start with include, then what will happen? It is inclusive. It is inclusive. Inclusive means the items mentioned here are only examples. Means only those items which are listed there will be the meaning. Now this money definition start with the means. So only these items which have been listed can be considered as a money. Any other item can't be considered as money. But when the definition start with includes, the items which are given here are only examples. This may even include any other person who is not included here. So next come AOP or whether or not incorporated in India or outside India. Corporation established by central, state, provincial or government company and body corporate incorporated by or under laws of a foreign country. Cooperative society registered, local authority, central government, state government, society registered, trust and artificial juridical persons. Now there are even other terms which may be used in this unit, but most of the terms we have already defined, analyzed and understood in our previous or preceding chapters. So by this time we already learned the definition of recipient, supplier, etc. Just if you want to have a revision, you can go back to those videos, you can play them and understand again, or open your ICS study material, go to the relevant chapter and once go through those definitions. Now we are going to the provisions as contained in section 15 dealing with the value of supply of CGST Act. 15 subsection 1, what it say? As usual or as we practice or do First we will go into the statutory provision, then we will go into the analysis part, then we will go into the flow charting part. The value of supply of goods or services or both shall be the transaction value, as simple as that. Your mother told you to go to the nearby shop in the locality and procure 1 kilo of rice. You went to that shopkeeper. You asked him what is the price of rice. 60 rupees per kg, he told you. That is the transaction value, as simple as that. Which is the price actually paid or payable? Your mom gave you only 50 rupees. He told you that it is 60 rupees. Now what are you going to do? You paid him 50 rupees. Rupees 10 is payable. He delivered the 1 kg rice to you. You went back to your home, gave it to your mom, and you told her that the price of the rice is 60 rupees and it is not 50, so we need to pay balance 10 rupees to the shopkeeper. Your mom gave you 10 rupees and you went to the shop and paid that amount. So the transaction value is 60 rupees. In the first instance you paid him 50 rupees, at the second instance you paid him 10 rupees. So actually paid or payable 50 plus 10. For the said supply of service or supply of goods or service are both where the supplier and recipient are not related, price is the sole consideration. So when transaction value can be adopted? Transaction value can be adopted only when two conditions are satisfied. What are the two conditions? The supplier and the recipient are not related, and the price is the sole consideration. Let us say the shopkeeper is your uncle, your mom's brother. Your mom asked you to go to the shop and procure rice. Of course, even though he is your uncle, he can't give you free of cost. Maybe he can give you at only 50 rupees. Now here what is happening is, if you and your mom and uncle may be related parties as per the definition of related parties which is given in the explanation to section 15. Then when the rice has been given to you only for 50 rupees, here what will happen is the provisions of section 15 subsection 1 will not apply in your case. Because you are not you are related parties. When you are related parties, 15.1 will not be applicable to you. You have to go to the determination of a value of supply rules under CGST. To those rules you have to go and check for the valuation method. Next comes the value of the supply will not include duties, taxes, cess, etc. charged under any law for timing in force other than this Act, the SGST Act, the UTGST Act, and the IGST Act and the Compensation Act, if charged separately by the supplier. So you have to include all those taxes other than those which have been subsumed into GST. If they have been subsumed into GST, you should not include. If they are not subsumed into GST and they are shown separately in the invoice, you have to include that. Any amount that the supplier is liable to pay in relation to such supply but which has been incurred by the recipient of the supply and not included in the price actually paid or payable for the goods or service or both. Let us say there is a cloth manufacturer, there is a cloth manufacturer, there is a cloth distributor. Now the cloth distributor placed a supply of 1000 pieces of something. Now the 1000 pieces is 1 lakh. But however, this fellow asked for a special dyeing. Now this cloth manufacturer will not do the dyeing. He gives it on a job work to somebody else. Now the dyeing cost is 20,000. Now what is happening is the cloth distributor, this 20,000 is not paid by the cloth manufacturer, but the cloth distributor directly pays to the job worker. Once these cloth pieces are got dyed, then dyeing has been done to those pieces, then again the pieces will come back here and this fellow will send to this fellow. Now what happened is, for this supply 1 lakh is paid to the manufacturer and 20,000 is paid to the job worker. So the total supply value will be 1,20,000. So any amount that the supplier is liable to pay, here 20,000 for dyeing work is to be incurred and paid by the cloth manufacturer. But what happened? The recipient of supply has paid it. So this cloth distributor directly paid to the job worker and is not included in the price. If it is not in this price is only 1 lakh. Now the value of supply by the cloth manufacturer to the cloth distributor will be 1 lakh plus 20,000, that will be 1,20,000. Incidental expenses including commission, packing charged by the supplier to the recipient of supply, and any amount charged for anything done by the supplier in respect of supply of goods or services, both at the time of or before the delivery of goods or supply of service. So all incidental expenses, if shown separately in the invoice, are to be included up to the time of delivery. Interest, late fees or penalty for delayed payment. This we already understood in our previous unit, time of supply itself. Subsidies directly linked to the price, excluding subsidies provided by the central government and the state government. Now, for the purpose of this subsection, the amount of subsidy shall be included in the value of supply of the supplier who receives the subsidy. Who receives the subsidy? So, subsidy to be included in whose price? In the price of the supplier. In the price of the supplier. Now, let us say I am a manufacturer. I am a manufacturer. I manufactured the product for 1,200. So actually, at what price I should sell the product? I should sell the product for 1,200. But I am getting a subsidy from somebody, 200. So I am selling it only 1,000 to A. Now this can't be done. It has to be, the value is to be 1,200. However, if this subsidy is from central government or state government, then you have to deduct the subsidy and the value of supply is only 1,000 rupees. Next comes value of supply. Now here in subsection 2 we have the inclusions. In subsection 3 we have, in subsection 2 we have the inclusions, and in subsection 2 inclusions, subsection 3 deals with the exclusions. So the supply will not include any discount, but however there are certain conditions which is given before or at the time of supply. If a discount has been duly recorded in the invoice, so if it is given before or at the time of supply, that has to be deducted from the invoice. If it is given after the supply has been effected, then the condition is that discount is established in terms of an agreement entered into on or before the time of supply and specifically linked to relevant invoices. Input tax credit as is attributable to the discount on the basis of document issued, means credit note, by the supplier has been reversed by the recipient of supply. This we will understand in detailed manner in our analysis and also in our subsequent chapters. So discount, if it is given before or at the time of supply, you should record it in the invoice itself by way of reduction from the value of supply. If it is provided after the supply has been effected, then conditions are to be satisfied. it is to be established by an agreement which has been entered into at the time or before supply. It should be linked to specific invoice. ITC should have been reversed by the supplier by the basis of a document, and it will be credit note. Where the value of supply of goods or services or both can't be determined under subsection 1, the same shall be determined in the manner as may be prescribed. The prescribed manner is rules. Notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1 or subsection 4, the value of such supplies, as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council, shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed. So again, central government has the power to prescribe the value of certain supplies, and such supplies may be notified. Now for this purpose, what do you mean by a related person? This related person shall be deemed to be related if they fall in any of the 8 points. They fall in any of the 8 points. We will learn this in the flowchart at a later point of our discussion. Or we will go through it what is there. Persons will be related if such persons are officers or directors of one other's business, legally recognized partners in business, employer-employee are related persons. Any person directly or indirectly owns or controls or holds 25% or more of outstanding voting stock or shares of both of them. One of them directly or indirectly controls the other. Both of them are directly or indirectly controlled by a third person. Together they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family. This we already defined somewhere in our preceding chapters. The term person also includes legal persons. Persons who are associated in the business of one another, in that one is the sole agent or sole distributor or sole concessionaire, howsoever described of the other, shall be deemed to be related. So even if one person is a sole agent or sole distributor or sole concessionaire to the other person, that person will also be called as or considered as a related person, even though they do not fall in any of the 8 points which have been given in explanation A. Next, analysis. Now, there are different provisions for determining the value of supply of goods or services in different situations. Suppose supply is made solely for price in money to unrelated party, then section 15 subsection 1 will come into play. If supply is made solely for non-monetary consideration, or for part monetary consideration, part non-monetary consideration, or involving additional consideration, or the transaction is between related persons, or the transaction is between specified class, or the supply is of a specified supply, then subsection 4 and subsection 5 will come into play. Here, determination of value of supply of CGST rules are to be followed. The related person given in the explanation to section 15 covers various situations of control, including a sole agent, sole distributor, sole concessionaire. So what do you mean by related person? Again, we have a flow chart. Now, we will discuss section 15 subsection 1. Supplies to unrelated persons, price is the sole consideration. Then 15.1 will come into play, and transaction value will be the value of supply. So the transaction of supply of good or service is between two persons. who are not related to each other. Related if a person is defined in explanation A to section 15. Price should be the sole consideration. So what do you mean by consideration? We have already defined here as well as in the our preceding chapters. Then if two conditions are satisfied, unrelated parties price is the sole consideration, then the value of supply will be the transaction value. Supply is between unrelated persons, price is the sole consideration, then the value will be the transaction value. So what is the transaction value? The transaction value when it is applicable if the transaction is between unrelated persons and the price is the sole consideration. Then what is the price actually paid or payable? I already told you an example. So this transaction value will include the amount already paid at the time of supply as well as the amount payable and not yet paid at that time. Credit sale is a classic example. The word payable refers to the price that is agreed between the parties. Suppose wholesale price of 1 metric ton of cement sold by X Limited in the ordinary course of business is 7,000. Price of 1 metric ton of cement sold by X Limited to unrelated customer is 6,700. Now, what is the value of supply? 6,700 is to be taken because the transaction is between unrelated parties and the price is the sole consideration. Right? Also, Section 15 of the CGST Act further provides certain inclusions and exclusions from the ambit of the transaction value. For example, the transaction value will not include discount if certain conditions are satisfied. The transaction value will include taxes which are not subsumed into the GST Act. Okay. Now, whom do you mean by a related person? That has been given in explanation A to section 15. So who are they? Person includes legal persons also, that we studied in clause B. Clause B, because in clause B it has been stated that person includes a legal person under explanation B. Explanation B. Now, deemed as related persons if they are officers or directors of one another's business, legally recognized partners in business, employer-employee, third person controls directly or indirectly 25% of the greater than or equal to 25% of the voting power. One of them controls directly or indirectly the other. A third person controls directly or indirectly both of them. Together control directly or indirectly a third party. Such persons are members of the family. Or one of them is the sole agent, sole distributor, sole concessionaire of the other. So whom do you mean by concessionaire? What we can do? We can just Google it. What do you mean by concessionaire? The holder of a concession or grant, especially for the use of land or commercial premises or for trading rights. Okay? So, that person has some right with dealing those goods or service. Now, certain items are to be included in the value. What is the value of supply? 15.1 says that Value of supply means transaction value if it is between two unrelated parties and the price is the sole consideration. Okay, but it has to include certain items. What are those items? Taxes, duties, cess, fees other than CGST, SGST, UTGST or GST if charged separately means all other taxes other than those taxes which have been subsumed into GST, if they are shown separately in the invoice, then it is to be included in the value of supply. Payment to third parties, that I explained it with an example. Incidental expenses such as commission, packing charged by the supplier to the recipient of supply. Any amount charged for anything done by the supplier in respect of supply of goods and or service at the time or before the delivery, right? Interest or late fees for delayed payment, this also we understood. Subsidies directly linked to the price other than the subsidies given by state government or central government. However, this has to be the subsidies which have been given to the supplier. The subsidies that have been given to the supplier has to be taken into consideration. Now, taxes and other than GST and GST compensation cess. Now, any taxes, duties, cess, fees charged levied under any law for a time being in force except CGST, SGST, UTGST compensation cess as well as IGST and IGST compensation cess. These are to be excluded. So, in effect, all taxes which are not subsumed in GST will form part of taxable value if they are charged separately. For example, if a supplier of goods pay municipal tax in relation to the goods being supplied, then it will form part of the value of supply because that municipal tax levied by the local authority is not subsumed into the GST, and if it is charged separately in the invoice, then that has to be included in the value of supply. Now, next item is with relation to TCS under the Income Tax Act is not includable. This has been clarified by CBIC through its circular number 76 dated 31st December 2018. Sometimes what will happen is if the product is sold for 1 lakh, let us assume. Suppose you are buying a car for more than 10 lakhs. Suppose you are buying it for 12 lakhs. Then let us say 1% TCS is to be collected from you. So what the dealer will do is, apart from 12 lakhs, he will also collect 1%. That is how much? 12,000. So he will collect 12 lakh 12,000 from the customer. Now, what will be the value of supply? Value of supply is only 12 lakhs. Because the 12,000 is not a tax, it is an interim levy. It is an interim levy and is not having the character of tax. So friends, the rest of this unit we will deal with in our next class.